out the motherfucking pack.
Right out
But
the
niggas don't know
bag.
how to act.
Hello, 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 and welcome back. It's been too long, man. I'm on my third goddamn computer, but thankfully, at least we can do the fucking Zoom shit again. So no more goddamn PowerPoint presentation slideshow fucking videos. But I got a good one today, man. It is not a mock draft. It's not a college football video. So what is it then? It's a debate. It is debate myself, to be fair. So it's I guess I can't even fucking call it a debate, but it is a argument to be made in the NFL. And let's just get right. If you click the fucking video, you already know what it's about. I don't know why I'm trying to be suspenseful here. Let's get right into it, man. Who's the GOAT, man? Who's the GOAT? Because look, the glaze for Patrick Mahomes has been a little crazy. I'll admit that much as of late. However, I'm on the glaze train. Pause. Because I just don't know how anybody can look at what Mahomes has accomplished to this point and not just be amazed. And there's a war of words going on right now between the Mahomes fans and the Tom Brady supporters, right? I don't really have a stake in this. I'm not a fan of either team. I've heavily disliked Tom Brady in the past. Uh, I don't really like Mahomes or certainly his group of people, fucking Taylor Swift and his brother and his wife and his fucking dad, all that shit, bro. But look, man, this is a GOAT debate here in this video. I'm getting in the weeds here, and I'm this is the thing. This is the thing. I wonder if y'all are gonna be able to tell who I support, because we are going strictly objective, no bias involved. Who's the GOAT? Who's the GOAT? So let's get into the parameters of this video here. So what are we doing really? We are comparing Mahomes' first 6 years as a starter. Keep in mind, because Mahomes and Brady both sat out their first year in the league. So we're comparing Mahomes' first 6 years to Brady's first 7 years. Why are we doing it this way? Well, I'm not going to compare Mahomes' first 6 years to Brady's entire 20 plus year career. I don't think that's fair. Um, because I think the whole argument is that Mahomes to this point has been so incredible and he's on such a miraculous pace that people are saying he'll eventually catch Tom easily. So I think comparing that to Tom's entire career isn't really fair. I think it is more even to compare what Mahomes has done to this point to what Brady did when he entered the league. And the reason I'm doing Brady's first 7 years instead of his first 6 years is because it wasn't close. I did the first 6 years and it actually it I'm trying to express to y'all here. It was so not close that there was not even a point in me making the video. Do you get what I'm saying? Like Mahomes' first 6 years and Brady's first 6 years, it makes Brady's first 6 years honestly just look like a role player, honestly. And that sounds a little crazy, but it wasn't close. So I had to throw in an extra year for Brady. And can you guys guess? Can you guys guess what Brady's seventh year was? It was 2007 with goddamn Randy Moss, 50 touchdowns. Okay, so I'm adding the best year of Tom Brady's entire career into his side of the equation here. So Brady gets a massive advantage due to that year. Keep that in mind. We will not be talking about their level of teammates and the coaching and stuff like that because Andy Reid, Hall of Fame first ballot legendary coach, Bill Belichick, Hall of Fame first ballot legendary coach. Their teammates, they each had top two tight ends of all time. They each had great defenses, all this shit. Obviously, in order to win Super Bowls and win multiple Super Bowls to be a dynasty per se, you have to have amazing coaching and amazing teammates. So I'm not gonna get into the weeds and be like, oh, this guy, uh, actually, if you look at it, this guy had the better defense this year. This guy, oh, Tom Brady never played with a Tyreek Hill, well, Mahomes never played with a Randy Moss or anything like that. So it's I'm not gonna get into all that. The controversies in Tom Brady's career, the tuck rule, the deflated balls, officiating. I think it's rigged. I don't give a damn. That none of that's going to be talked about here. First, we're going to look at the regular season stats and accomplishments. Then we're going to look at what they did in the playoffs. So side by side per se. I'm this is the thing I hate. I will absolutely not be comparing this to other GOAT debates in other sports because that shit is just fucking ridiculous to me. Like how the hell could a sport like football and Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady be compared to like basketball, for example, and LeBron and MJ? It just makes no sense. It's two completely different sports. All of that shit is just ridiculous to me. So we're not doing that. And the level of competition, we're just gonna say it's even. I'm not in my opinion, are Mahomes Super Bowl wins over the 49ers twice. And who the hell did they beat? They beat the 49ers, the Eagles, for example. Do I think those three wins are more impressive than what Brady did? Yes. That's my opinion. Yes. Those are 10 out of 10 incredible wins, incredible teams that Mahomes beat. However, I'm not going to I wasn't even alive for the majority of Brady's first couple Super Bowls, right? So I'm not going to try and compare this team was better because I'm biased, right? So I'm trying to eliminate that bias. So level of competition, we're going to say it's even, right? So let's get right into it, man. I set the parameters pretty fairly, I think. So let's hop right into this debate. So the comparison starts off like this: the passing stats in the regular season. Keep in mind, Tom Brady, 16 more games. That's dead on. So he gets a full extra season in these stats. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, guys. I don't have to walk you through this. Use your eyes. Mahomes absolutely clears Tom Brady. The only thing that Brady has are the raw wins, which, if you keep in mind the fact he's played more games, is not as impressive. But he also has a higher win percentage, which I do think is impressive. So Brady has the winning slight line. It's basically even, right? Um, so he does have that if you want, but look, I think we all have eyes, right? I don't have to break down how Mahomes statistically is off to the greatest start in NFL history. I'd argue for any position. Maybe with, Justin Jefferson in the receiving category, but Mahomes, this is incredible, right? 16, so he's played a full season less than Brady in all of these stats. Clears him, not even close in yards, touchdowns, pretty close in completions actually, but much higher completion percentage. The interceptions, people don't really talk about how turnover prone Tom was. We're gonna take an in-depth look at that, but to be so less turnover prone in a more pass heavy era is just so impressive, and it's such a positive for Mahomes in this debate for me is that not only does he have the raw numbers and the stats to surpass Brady in this category, but he also is doing it much more efficiently and while protecting the football much more than Tom did in his first 7 seasons. And you look at the average rating, passer rating, I believe that is obviously Mahomes. It's much better than Brady's. So these are the passing stats in the regular season in this comparison we're doing. Next up, we got the rushing stats, and I'd I don't even know. I haven't seen this argument yet, so I'm kind of just fabricating this in my head. But I'm assuming there's going to be at least a couple people that say, "Well, that's not fair to Tom. You can't compare. Obviously, Mahomes is a better running or a better runner with the football." Yeah, that's why he's that. That's why it should be compared. It's not unfair to Tom. He just couldn't run the football as well. That's that's not unfair. It's just something Mahomes did much better and does much better currently. I mean, obviously, the rushing stats, use your eyes right here. Mahomes blows Brady out the water. And he does that while having significantly less fumbles. Like, look at the fumbles right here and look at the turnovers, the interceptions right here for Tom. Tom Brady turned it over significantly more than Patrick Mahomes in the regular season. It's not even close. Not even close. The rushing stats, obviously, Patrick Mahomes being a much better runner than Tom Brady is just clearing him and all of the stats, right? So these are the total stats, right? A full less season played for Patrick Mahomes, almost, let's call it 3,500 more yards, 29 more touchdowns with 53 less turnovers. So statistically, right? Because I believe Brady is number one all time in yards, right? Something like that. So statistically, right, Brady is like the guy to beat, right, all time. I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that Mahomes is off to a GOAT-like start. right? Just compare the stats, right? In a season less, Mahomes clears Brady. It's not even close. So I don't think there's any problem with then projecting that out and saying Mahomes is just going to have the stats, right? It's just that's something that Brady fans are going to have to concede because in this sample size, with a whole season advantage, and not just any season, Brady's best season ever, 2007 MVP season, 50 touchdowns. With that season on top of being at a level playing field, it's not close. So I don't know how you can argue or debate that at all. If we're using stats as a big basis for this debate, and who's going to finish the greatest of all time, Mahomes is going to have that, and I'm fairly confident in that. Next up, we got the regular season accomplishments here. Okay, so let's start off with Pro Bowls. Mahomes, 6 Pro Bowls in 6 years. Um, you can make the argument, and I would agree with you. Do Pro Bowls really matter that much? Not really. They're kind of like all-star appearances in other sports, but I just the NFL Pro Bowl is a joke to me. In my opinion, it should just be an award. It shouldn't matter. Maybe it does. I don't even know how it works, to be honest. It should just be an award. If you were a top whatever player in your position, you get a Pro Bowl nomination, right? And if you were even better than that, if you were a top 2 player in your position, you get an All Pro, right? That's how I feel like it should be. So Pro Bowls, I put it up there just because, right? But obviously Mahomes 6 out of 6 in terms of Pro Bowls. Brady 4 out of his first 7. Mahomes 3 out of his first 6 seasons he was an All Pro. Brady 2 out of his first 7 seasons he was an All Pro. I just kind of just backing up what the stats say, right? This should be pretty comparable to the stats. Mahomes, he won 2 MVPs in his first 6 years. Brady won 1 in his first 7, and that 1 was the extra season I included. So if we're doing the first 6 seasons, Mahomes had 2 MVPs, Brady had none. Patrick Mahomes, 3 Super Bowls. Brady also won 3 Super Bowls, but Mahomes won all 3 of his Super Bowl MVPs. Brady did not. He only had 2 out of 3, losing 1 to a receiver. I think his name was Deion Branch, or I probably got that wrong, but he lost 1 to a receiver. So again, just look. We got the stats already notched, clear, undebatable advantage for Patrick Mahomes. If you debate with this right here, there's nothing I can do for you. It's the information's right here in front of you. If you're a Brady fan, all you can do is shut your mouth and acknowledge and concede the fact that you cannot use stats to your advantage, right? This right here is another thing because Tom Brady, the most accomplished quarterback in NFL history, nobody's debating that. But these are stats. These are objective stats. These are numbers, right? There's no bias behind any of these numbers. It's Brady has the advantage. Brady has a larger sample size for this debate, and he doesn't have more of anything. Right here. The only thing he has in these 2 slides, the only thing he has more of Mahomes than is games played, which is actually bad because it's a larger sample size for Brady. The bias and the advantage in this whole presentation is for Tom Brady, and he doesn't have Mahomes beat in anything. So that's unfortunate. So I think we can wrap up the regular season segment of this debate by saying that Mahomes clears Tom Brady. Yeah, I hate it when people do this, and it's not close. I hate it when people do that. But I just let's do Super Bowls, Super Bowl MVPs, All Pros, Pro Bowls, turnovers, total touchdowns, total yards. That's a clean sweep, with one of which being tied, that being Super Bowls 3 apiece. Now let's get into the playoff stats. What did they do when it mattered most? When each guy, being a debatable GOAT, had to step up their game, who did more? And as you guys can see, it's a clean sweep. It's a clean sweep. Mahomes, here's an interesting talking point right here. So Mahomes actually has one more game advantage to Tom Brady in this situation here. Why is that important? Unlike the regular season game category where it's an unfair or a biased advantage, this is a fair advantage because in order to play more playoff games, you had to win more. You earned that advantage, did Patrick Mahomes. That's why I have it highlighted in green right there, because in order to have this advantage of one more game, he had to win more playoff games than Tom Brady won. So in one more season than Patrick Mahomes, Brady won less games. Or sorry, he played in less games, but same thing. If you know what I mean. And Brady actually missed the playoffs once. He missed the playoffs 1 year in his first 7 seasons as a starter. So Take that into consideration. So 18 to 17 games, let's look at the comparisons here. Mahomes, obviously, far more completions on over, let's 5.5% more efficiently. Uh, over 1,000 more yards than Brady, 15 more touchdowns on less interceptions. It's not, guys, it's not close. Um, the passer rating, it's not close, right? So this is what I'm saying. And keep in mind, guys, I had to add in his legendary 2007 MVP season. Can you guys imagine how bad this shit looked when I was just doing their first six apiece? Like I said, it's not close. It's not close at all. So Mahomes is clean sweeping Tom Brady in three straight three straight slides. Three straight slides. Actually, let's go back. Four straight slides. We're talking about clean sweeps. Clean sweeps. Brady has not beat Mahomes in any category of this debate so far. Next up, playoff rushing stats. I mean, come on. Come on. Obviously, this is going to be in Mahomes' favor. Um, Only thing Brady has to the advantage is his fumbles. We noticed that in the regular season he turned the ball or he fumbled the ball a lot. So it's a good thing that when playoff time came around, he was much more protective of the football. So he wins something. But does that does that matter for the other four things that Mahomes clears him in? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. So now so that's the stats, right? The stats have no bias. There's no arguing with the stats, right? They are what they are. And Mahomes dominated Brady in that category. Now we have their subjective traits and skills. Who's the better quarterback skill wise? In this, I think these are just six things that I thought of on the top of my head. Obviously, there's probably more things you can judge here. Like I'm not going to judge fucking leadership. Obviously, both these guys won 3 rings in 6 or 7 years. They're obviously great fucking leaders. Um, and look, I'm not gonna do a Skip Bayless fucking the eye test. What does the eye test tell me? I know Mahomes dominates Brady and all these stats, but the eye test tells me no, I'm not gonna do that. Mobility, obviously not even a debate. If you debate that Tom Brady is more mobile, then there's no I don't know what to tell you. Accuracy. I had this even, to be honest. Not even per se, but I think they're both amazingly accurate quarterbacks. Even though Mahomes, the completion percentage was way in his favor, all that, I still think Tom Brady. And keep in mind, I'm a young guy. I'm 21, right? I never saw, I never even saw prime Tom Brady. You could say prime Tom Brady. I never saw his MVP 2007 season. I never saw the early 2000s, even the early 2010s, nothing like that. My image of Tom Brady is his latter days with the Patriots, beating teams like the Rams and the Falcons and my Seahawks in the Super Bowl and the Buccaneers, right? That's my image of Tom Brady in my head. Even that guy, as he was getting older, I thought was an incredibly accurate quarterback. And his Tampa days, obviously, he started missing a few more throws, but I don't think anybody's arguing with the fact that Tom Brady was incredibly accurate with the football. Obviously, so is Mahomes. Arm strength wise, I don't think this should be debatable. I'm sure Tom Brady had a good arm. He had a very good arm, but nobody ever said that, oh, that Tom Brady guy, he has a Peyton Manning or a Dan Marino type of arm where he can just sling that shit, a Matthew Stafford type of arm, right? That I think that obviously goes to Patrick Mahomes. Poise in the pocket. This is interesting. I'm gonna give this to Brady. I'm gonna give this to Brady clear, whereas I think he is just clearly more poise in the pocket, a better decision maker. These kind of go hand in hand, right? Than Patrick Mahomes. I think this is where he has that advantage in terms of on the field talent wise. I feel like Mahomes has kind of that Superman syndrome going on where he tries to make too many plays into the big play, right? The hypothetical big play, right? Rather than what Brady did perfectly was due to his lack of mobility, he had to stand firm in that pocket, take a lot of hits, and dump off the ball or make the right play, make the smart play, live to play another down. Mahomes, I feel like, even though he greatly won the turnover battle in this statistical discussion, I feel like he tries to do too much sometimes and it gets him into some trouble. Whereas Tom Brady, I feel like throughout his whole career was known for making the right decision always, breaking frustrating defenses because he never made that mistake as to trying to force the ball in certain places, right? And then clutch gene, obviously, I think there's like all these stats are coming out now about Mahomes being the most clutch quarterback ever, but I still think Brady's that guy, right? I'm not going to try and argue and say that one of these guys is not clutch. I think they're both clutch. And I know that's kind of like an eye test stat, right? The clutch gene, who's more clutch, who got that dog in it, nothing like that, man. They're both capable of leading their team downfield when they need when they need to score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. Both these guys have shown and time again that they're capable of getting their team where they need to be in crunch time. So next up, right, the head to head. Because look, if you couldn't tell by now, it is my opinion that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL, and he will, by the time he retires, he will greatly be considered the GOAT, right? That's my opinion. I tried not to have that bleed through, but it's hard when Mahomes kind of clears him in all this, the categories we're talking about here. So what is the rebuttal, right? So if I'm making the argument for Mahomes, what is the rebuttal that Brady fans are going to stick to, right? Because you can't say Brady's better, right? You can't say he's more talented than Mahomes. You can't say he's more skilled. You can't say he had accomplished more in this time frame, right? That you can't say that he was better statistically, right? I think I nailed home and hammered home the points that Mahomes clears Brady in all the important categories so far. Now, this is the thing, right? The Brady fans' main point of contention are these two head-to-head matchups. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit. I'm kind of okay. Let's do it like this. So I believe it was 2018 or 2019. Brady beat Mahomes with the Patriots, and they in the AFC Championship game, and the Patriots advanced to and won the Super Bowl. That was here to beat the Rams, I believe. Then you have Patrick Mahomes losing to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I think it was like 2021 or 2020, maybe even. And there's in the Super Bowl, so it's a little different, right? On the biggest stage. This is how I feel about the head-to-head matchups, right? I don't really think they matter that much. And you can kind of scoff at that and click off the video if you want. But how am I like Patrick Mahomes is not playing cover two in Tom Brady when he's on Tom Brady when he's dropping back in the pocket, right? Tom Brady isn't coming around the edge to blitz Patrick Mahomes on defense, right? They're not playing. Yeah, they're playing against each other, and that you're going head to. I understand that, but when we're talking about head to head matchups in football, especially for the same, like if it was fucking Jerry Rice on Deion Sanders, that's a different story, right? We're talking about quarterbacks. You can't. I mean, it's kind of just the teams, right? It's not. I mean, it's so weird, right? Because I'm not even that type of a guy that'd say, well, Eli Manning is 2-0 against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Does that make Eli Manning better than Tom Brady? That's kind of the thing you got to bring out, right, to nullify what Brady fans are saying about this, right? Because that's the hypocrisy there. Because Brady can't be 2-0 against Mahomes and be better than Mahomes if Eli Manning is 2-0 against Brady in the Super Bowl and he's better than Brady. Nick Foles beat Brady in the Super Bowl. Like all this shit, it's like head-to-head matchups don't determine who's better, especially when it's in your prime, 39, 40, 41-year-old Tom Brady against a younger Mahomes at the time, right? So head-to-head matchups, in my opinion, if we're going in the deep end, right? Their first game against each other was a classic, right? It went to overtime. But Brady, I believe, took them down the field the last drive of the game and won, if I'm remembering that correctly. So that was a classic game where Brady had a game-winning drive. Then the Super Bowl was Brady had the far and away the better team. Is anybody debating that? Anybody who watched that Super Bowl between the Bucks and the Chiefs, and you saw how horrible the Chiefs' offensive line played, and you saw how great the Buccaneers' defense was, does anybody think Patrick Mahomes had the better team in that game? Like, be honest. I don't think anybody would say that. Even the Brady fans who are just trying to lie to make a point. I don't think you can even justify that. So we have a classic game where Brady got the ball last and scored, and then we have a blowout where Brady had the far and wide the better team, and Mahomes' team let him down. What did I say about that? That's wrong. So head-to-head matchups in football, and this is the thing, right? This is the thing. We got two games here now. Albeit these are two incredibly important games for Tom, that he went on to win the Super Bowl. In both of these games, affected Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl at Patrick Mahomes' expense twice, right? But this doesn't even line up into the time period that I'm comparing. I'm comparing Patrick Mahomes' start to his career to Brady's start to his career and saying it's not close. Mahomes clears him. So these head-to-head matchups are, you know, I just I have to take them with a grain of salt, but I really just don't even consider them that much at all. Like, because nobody's saying seriously that Eli Manning's better than Tom Brady. It's just head-to-head matchups in football. I just really don't feel like they matter all that much, especially when Patrick Mahomes is off to a much better start. So it's up to y'all. I'm trying to pitch this debate to the viewer. Do you think Tom Brady's two head-to-head wins overwhelm and surpass everything else we talked about in this video? All of these stats were Patrick Mahomes. Look at all the clean sweeps here. All of these stats, all the accomplishments in the regular season and in the playoffs. Do you guys honestly think that Tom Brady's two head-to-head wins make all of that other shit irrelevant? If you do, more power to you. More power to you. I can't agree with you, but that's your prerogative. I can't tell you what to believe or what not to believe. But if you want to know what I believe, all of that to say, Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. that's what I think, man. And look, uh, some people will have a problem with it, and they'll say it's disrespectful to call a guy in his sixth year, in his mid-20s, to call him better than Grandpa Tom Brady, who played for 30 years. Look, man, it's pretty simple. Patrick Mahomes is by far and away the greatest player I've ever seen play. And the stats and the accomplishments back up him being the best ever. So I don't have a problem with that, man. And the people that are trying to compare a 6 year sample size to a 20+ year sample size, you guys are just stupid in my opinion. I don't know what to tell you. You have to make it comparable, right? Because 6 to 20+ is not comparable. So if you look at it in a comparable sample size, which is what I did in this video, it's pretty clear, right? People that are using total set. If you're going to compare the Mahomes' career to Brady's career, do it on like a per game basis or something. Like you're comparing Brady's total stats over 20 years to Mahomes' six. Like you're just stupid to me. But anyways, a little rant at the end there. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. I will catch you in the next video. Hopefully that's soon. I don't even know what it's going to be yet. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out the niggas don't know how to act.